with the sweep of Elmhurst. Here with more insight on what we continue to learn about this softball squad is the insider, Matt Ellis. Matt, take it away.
Thanks, Chris. The Warhawks split their doubleheader with the stout Blue Devils, winning the first game 8-0, but losing the second game by just one run, with the score being 2-1 in favor of the Blue Devils. Now, before that doubleheader with the Blue Devils, the Warhawks dropped a doubleheader against the University of Chicago on Wednesday, April 10th, where they were outscored in the two games by a score of 14-5. So this weekend was pretty important for the Warhawks to get back on track. Now, getting back to the series with Stout, in the first game, the Warhawks jumped out to an early one-run lead after Kiera Kostrowski got on base with a single to left, eventually scored an unearned run off an error committed by the Stout shortstop. From there, the score remained 1-0 in favor of the Warhawks when they poured in 7 runs in the final 2 innings, with 6 of them coming in the bottom of the 4th. The game ended after just 5 innings, with the win going to Warhawks starting pitcher Maddie Anderson, who is now 5-0 on the year. In the second game, it was a bit of a different story. Neither team scored a run until about the 5th inning, where this time it was the Stout Blue Devils who got on board first, scoring twice in that inning. The top of the 5th started with Stephanie Kuhn of the Blue Devils stretching out swinging, but from there, junior Alexa Anderson reached on base off an error when Warhawks starting pitcher Rhiann Dick was making the throw to first. Now, that error was followed up by another error, this time putting Mackenzie Wolterstorff on first, with Alexa Anderson now on third. A sacrifice bunt sent Alexa Anderson from third to home, and an RBI sent Wolterstorff in to score from second. Now, the Warhawks would put up a run in the bottom of the 6th, but ultimately they would go on to lose this one, with the final score being 2-1. Now, the doubleheader between those two teams was an even 1-1 split. However, on Sunday, the Warhawks would bounce back, sweeping the doubleheader against Elmhurst, where they scored 7 runs in the first game and 5 runs in the second. In that doubleheader, Elmhurst was shut out in both games, and they were out-hit by a margin of 22-7. Whitewater is starting to slowly become more battle-tested as the year goes on, which, of course, for the Warhawks is good to see.
Yeah, Matt, based off this past performance by the Warhawks softball team, what can we expect in the future?
Well, it's going to be tough going forward because now these are all WEAC teams, and I know we've talked about it multiple times that the WEAC is just a very tough conference to play in. I think what we can expect is runners that are focusing on scoring. This is a team that can get runners on base, but they're going to have to convert those runners on base into scoring. And then the pitching staff has been really good at getting strikeouts, so that's going to be a focus on them going forward, continuing to get those strikeouts.
Matt, I know you mentioned Maddie Anderson. Thank you for that report, by the way. Talk to me about just the impact she's made on this team through the season.
Yeah, she's been good both as a pitcher and as a hitter. She had an RBI in Game 1 against Stout, and she's also been very good as a pitcher. She had 9 strikeouts in that Game 1. So as a pitcher and as a hitter, when you can play confident on both sides, that's definitely going to improve your performance. So I was definitely impressed with what she was able to do in that series.
Yeah, Matt, thank you for that report as well. The Warhawks softball team won the WEAC tournament last year, ended up being the WEAC champions. Do you think they could go back-to-back? And if so, what do they have to do to get there?
You know, it's always tough to predict that. I'm not sure, but what they have to do is play confident, right? When you're in a tough conference like the WEAC, the one thing that you have to do is stay confident as the year goes on, because you're going to get knocked down a couple times, but you're also going to go on these little win streaks where you might win 2, 3, 4 games in a row. So if I had any advice for the squad, it's just to remain confident. And I really like to see the pitching staff get those strikeouts. So if that's a priority going forward, they should be doing well.
Hey, Matt, talk to me a little bit about Brenda Volk, head coach Brenda Volk's message to the team and just how she approaches these games going forward.
Well, she was happy with Maddie Anderson's performance after that Game 1. Essentially, she said when you have Maddie on the mound, you always have a chance. And now in that second game against the Blue Devils, she was happy with what her pitching staff gave her. She had about 7 strikeouts on the day, the Warhawks did in that Game 2. But offensively, it was just a different story. So essentially what she was reiterating is they had a good day pitching-wise, but when you have that performance from your pitchers, you need to be able to win those games. And we know in Game 2 against Stout, they weren't able to do that.
Thank you for that report, Matt. We'll look forward to seeing how the Warhawks will